Back to another episode of Barbershop Talk Like This. I'm your host, Trey the Barber.
And this your other host, Dice the Barber.
Kush in the building as always.
And today in the building, man, we have truly been blessed by this brother, man. This guy is a street legend. He's an entrepreneur.
Architect.
Worldwide
man,
legend.
this guy, this is big, man. Give it up to my man, Freeway Ricky Ross.
What up?
Hey.
What up? Man? What up?
OG?
The real Rick Ross.
The real Rick Ross.
The namesake.
Work.
All right, first of all, there's a couple things that we do normally to start off our podcast. We first like to thank God for waking us up this morning, allowing each and every last one of us to be here,
yes,
and just to continue to bless each and every last one of us for our endeavors and everything that we do in life. Second of all, we normally start our show off with a shot. Now, we understand you don't drink. You know what I'm saying? So
You can take a shot of water.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you on a shot of water.
I'm going to take a shot of this Henny White.
Salud.
Salud.
Bang, 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 bang.
Now, I want to give a shout out to my man Dietrich for setting this whole thing up, man.
What's up?
I was over at my man Josh's house, and Dietrich and I, we were talking. And we started discussing Snowfall because I was like, "Yo, Snowfall is one of my, favorite shows on television." Blah blah blah. He's like, Rick is my man. I'm like, "Oh, word." But people like, I work in a barbershop, so a lot of times I mention your name and people be like, "Oh yeah, my people used to work for Rick. My mom and them know Rick." You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
You kind of get that all the time. But then he picks up his phone and he calls you up. You answer. I was sitting there like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? And you were at the time, you were hosting a party in my hometown, Kansas City. This was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, this is.
Shout out to Kansas City. Shout out to Kansas City.
Hey, man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you showing the love.
They're trying to get it together down there, man. Them young brothers is making a stance in Kansas City. They need to change some things.
Hell yeah. So, now for me personally, like I've done the research on, you know what I'm saying? I've watched podcasts, I've listened to, interviews, and everybody like pretty much covers all of the same things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They do.
For me personally, you know what I'm saying? I want to dig in a little deeper and know the real Rick Ross and not just
what everybody else knows.
Yeah, the hustle. You know what I'm saying? Because we all heard, you've heard the story 1,000 times already. You know what I'm saying? So, just tell us a little bit about you, like even without no drugs, without, you know what I'm saying, none of that. Just like what makes you go every day? What gets you going in the morning when you wake up and your feet hit the ground and say it's a new day?
Well, I got a mission. You know what I'm saying? I got a mission that I want to fulfill, and I think that it's more important than anybody else's mission, in the world. You have to feel that your mission, your life is the most important, and that your goals and aspirations that you set for yourself are the most important things in the world. And once you look at it like that, then you'll go out and make your goals happen. And that's the way I feel right now about myself, that I have some goals that must be accomplished. And if I don't, it could cause great detriment to a lot of people.
Right.
So can I ask you, like, what are some of those goals right now?
Well, I don't know if you heard, but about a year ago, the top economists in the country were predicting that black people would be totally broke in 20 years. And after reading the article, I had a debate with some of my family members and a couple friends, and we were just chopping up about it, like what we thought about it. And the first thing when I read the article is that I said that they're not talking about me, because I don't care where I'm at, who I'm around. If somebody else got some money, I'm going to get some kind of way. I'm going to get some of that money. But then I started thinking about the other people around me, that may affect, and the ones that it's affecting right now, because when I did like a little survey, and I was like, how many people could I borrow $1,000 from? Mm-hmm. If I needed it bad, like if I had to have it right now, how many people could I actually call that Now there's a lot that would want to give it to me.
Right.
Right.
But
How many
of them
can actually physically do that right now?
right now go pick up $1,000 right now? Like just go to the bank, go to the ATM machine. The ATM machine to kick them out $1,000. It was very few. You know what I'm saying? If any.
Two.
And then I went down to how many could you get $100 from? And it was still a few, and I thought about it. I was like, man, most of the people I know don't even have $20.
Right.
They come to me asking for $20, and I was like, what they gonna do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the economist is saying this is gonna be 20 years, but I'm saying everybody around me broke right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right now they toe up. So I made it my mission to prove the economists wrong, to make sure that that my people eat as well as everybody else's people eat.
Right. Because like in today's time, black people, we like one of the number one consumers of everything.
45 million strong, and we run the economy.
You know what I'm
if
saying?
you knew it.
So my question is, how do we turn the tables from consumers, you know what I'm saying, to the business people, to the sellers? You know what I'm saying?
Well, we got to get smart. We got to start thinking in a totally different terms. We may have to reprogram ourselves. We may have to undata ourselves. Erase everything in your mind and everything that you think is. I went through a transformation when I was in prison, and this book I read one time, and it asked me this question. It said, can you believe, no, is it possible that everything that you know could be wrong? Was that possible? And I thought about it, and I said, I could accept that. I could accept that the people who taught me could have taught me wrong. Because I've known people who did love me, had mad love for me, gave me some bad shit.
Right.
And it's not necessarily that they intended to, but it's what they knew
Didn't intend to at all, but that's all they had.
It's what they knew.
That's all they had.
That's all they knew.
Right.
So they gave me what they had and what they knew. So right off the bat, I knew that could happen. You know what I'm saying? Somebody could have dire love for you and still give you something that wasn't right for you.
Right.
That's like the media.
Yeah, I tell my daughter this all the time. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I tell my daughter this. I say, listen, parenting is one of the hardest things in the world. You know what I'm saying? And as best as I try to make every decision that's right for you, they're not always going to be correct. You know what I'm saying? So I tell her, you got to please forgive me, because just like this is your first time through life, this is my first time coming through as a parent. So, you know what I'm saying? I can't always, even though, like I said, in my heart, I want to give you the best advice, but, you might find out later on, like, damn, I did that wrong.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I had my daughter when I was 19. Now I'm 42. And then now I have a son that's 7. So it was a lot of things that I learned from that time to when I had him that that I could tell him a little bit more than what I could tell my daughter, because I learned a lot more throughout the time. You know what I'm saying? So I feel you. Everything that you know might not be right.
Yeah, because they've told us so much stuff. Like a couple weeks ago, I'm listening to the radio, because I listen to the news all the time, and they had a debate on, is the world round or flat?
Right. I always had that.
And
This guy, he believes it's flat.
And I'm like, who do you believe? You know what I'm saying? And
Is your vote
I didn't know that they couldn't take pictures of the Earth from outer space. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But the guy on the radio was saying, oh, well, they can't take pictures from outer space, so nobody has actually seen it. Nobody has actually experienced it, so how can they just say the world is round? But it's just so much stuff that we as human beings have to decipher through in order to navigate this life that we're going through. And I just find myself just trying to figure out, what steps should be made the correct way, because nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to be wrong.
Exactly.
We all want to be right. We all want to be on the right track, going to the right places. But if we don't take the time out to educate ourselves and not let other people think for us all the time, so often we're critical thinkers for other people's businesses, but we're not critical thinkers for ourselves, and I think that's what we as Black people have to start doing. We have to become critical thinkers for us, for our community, for what we need as a community.
Now, with you going to prison, do you feel like you going to prison, helped you realize a lot of things as far as because you read a lot and you had to learn how to read and write when you was in prison?
Oh, absolutely. Prison was a blessing to me, and it was a blessing in disguise. I never would have known myself had I not went to prison. Being in prison, being in solitary confinement gives you a lot of time to be with you. When we're on the street, we find ourselves being influenced by so many different things. Right. You jump in the car, the radio is on. People are going to be talking to you. The phone is ringing. So when we out here, it's so much going on that we don't really get a chance to really like sit and listen to your heartbeat. Listen to yourself breathe. Right. You know what I'm saying? And being in the hole, you got to do that because
that's all you
ain't got nobody to talk to. I mean, you could yell down the hallway to somebody, and maybe you hear what they're trying to say, and maybe they hear what you're trying to say, but you can only do that for a few minutes, and then that's bored. You get bored with that, and then you're gonna be laid back on that bunk with yourself again. So it definitely gave me a lot of time to sit down, analyze myself, analyze my game. Because I want to know, when I was in prison, I want to know how I got in prison. Right. And some people say, oh, well, you sold drugs. That's how you got there. No. It was deeper than that, though. How did I become a drug dealer? What made me think that selling drugs was cool? Right. What's making these youngsters now think that selling and using drugs is cool? And those are the answers that we have to try to figure out right now, Right. And that's what I'm on right now.
Sure. Yeah. So you like right now you're going around and you're talking to people and letting them know that there's other ways than the route that you actually took.
Absolutely. Well, when I started selling drugs, I was 19 years old and uneducated, had never read a book, had really never been nowhere, had never saw anything. And when my friend introduced me to cocaine for the first time, I thought it was the coolest thing that I'd ever seen, with the benefits that it had for me and mine. I saw the benefits tremendous. And I
want to touch on something because you said you was uneducated, which might have been true. However, you were intelligent.
Absolutely. It's a difference.
There's a difference that people don't understand. You know what I'm saying? I might not know how to read and write, but I'm intelligent enough that I see a vision, and you did something bigger, you know what I'm saying, than anybody was doing at that time.
Yeah. I mean, education don't give you vision.
Exactly.
Right.
And just because you have a vision don't mean that you educated to that system. I'm not saying, I thought that I wasn't smart, when I was in school. But I learned later on that if I really wanted to, I could conquer their whole school system. Right. Because their school system is not that difficult. But if you don't know the principles of success, then everything becomes hard. Everything becomes difficult. And I mean, to the point to where some of us even quit and give up, and just start living in cardboard boxes and up on the freeways. But once you learn the principles, then you know that there's nothing that in this world that you can't master if you want to.
Now, I do have a question because it's always baffled me. Like, first of all, I was really shocked. Like, this was years ago when I found out that you were illiterate at that time, that you could not read and write. And it's just one of those things. Like, I always wonder, like, how are people able to move through an entire, educational career, like, middle school, elementary, high school. Now, I do understand that you played tennis. So, once you start playing sports, people start doing things for you. But how is it that, like, prior to playing tennis, how were you able to maneuver without anyone noticing, saying, yo, you can't read, like, let me help you with that?
Well, the first thing, not being able to read is not not the unnormal.
Right.
I mean, 65% of the guys in prison can't read. I don't know the exact stats for our schools right now, but I guarantee you that our school reading levels are low.
Right.
So that's not unusual for somebody to have gone through that. A lot of our people are going through that right now. And we put people in places that not qualified for the jobs. Sometimes we got people teaching our kids that are not qualified to be a teacher, and nor do they want to be qualified to be a teacher.
Right.
They just want to check.
They just need a job.
So if they get their check, they good. If your kid learned, they learn. If they didn't, they didn't. Push them on to the next one.
One of the things I always said kind of messes up, like what we talked about earlier, like trying to do something right but really doing it wrong. For me, I think back in time when they wanted to desegregation, like when they wanted us to go to their schools. You know what I'm saying? Like when we were being taught by our own people, you know what I'm saying? Education was big in the black community. People really wanted to learn. You didn't want to be that guy who didn't know. But when they wanted to desegregate and send us to their schools, now they're educating us.
And they don't want to educate you. They don't want to teach you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, personally, when you look at that, do you feel that desegregation for black people was a mistake?
I don't know. I don't know necessarily if it was a mistake or not. But what I do know is that we have wanted to be like the slave master since the beginning. We always wanted to do what they did, and that has caught up to us. We lost our drive and our ambition to move forward. I think as a people, we've been beat down by the system to where we don't think that we can win. So if you don't think you can win, why try?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think those are some of the things that we're fighting. And whatever the cause was in the past, that's the past. And now this is today. What are we going to do tomorrow?
Right.
Because we can't do anything about yesterday, but we can definitely dictate today what's going to happen tomorrow. Right. And I really start to live my life like that. History is history. I try to learn from it so that it don't repeat itself. But at the end of the day, what am I going to do tomorrow to make the next day after tomorrow be better than what today was? Right. And that's kind of how I attack.
Do you still watch tennis?
Huh?
You still watch tennis?
When I'm practicing on the tennis courts, I do a little coaching. I work with a few kids. I don't really watch it on TV. I don't really have time, right now to be entertained. I don't want to be entertained. I think that we've been entertained, we've been partying too many years, and that's how we fell in this position that we in, and anything that helped put us in this position, I really don't want no parts of it.
Now, does the numbers 0555-045 motivate you every day?
Yeah, it does. I don't want that number no more. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm afraid to go back to prison, but I don't have to. So I ain't going back.
But see, for somebody like you, you say you're not afraid. I mean, some guys, some niggas just ain't scared, period. You know what I'm saying? But for some little young dude out there who's selling drugs and ain't never been to jail for the first time, like, it has to be, it's petrifying. You know what I'm saying?
It is. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first went, I was scared. I was scared of being by myself, not being around the people that I cared about, that I loved. If I was ever going to see them free again, those are scary situations. You may never hold another grandkid or a niece, a nephew. Right. If they needed some advice, you're not able to give it to them. So it's definitely a scary situation. But when I was there, I learned how to work the system. I learned how to make that system work for me.
Absolutely.
And it turned out to be, for me, a benefit and not a hindrance.
Yeah. So like when you started hustling initially, you wanted to do that to become, like you wanted to be a businessman.
Well, yeah. Well, when I first started hustling, because I didn't know nothing about a businessman when I first started selling dope. I just wanted to make enough money to fix my
family and
fix my lowrider. No, I wasn't trying to help my family either.
You ain't helping no family when you starting out the drug game, man. You trying to get on and get your lowrider,
man. I was trying to get the lowrider.
I don't know nobody took their first profit from dope and said, "Here, mama, go pay some bills." Like,
I was trying to get my lowrider fixed and give me some tennis lessons, man. That was my goal.
All right, let me ask you this: do you have any regrets?
Nah, no regrets, just lessons. Regrets is for somebody who can't do nothing about the situation. It's over, it's done, and they got regrets. They sitting there, man, I hate I got into that. No, I don't have no regrets, man. Only lessons. I took some valuable lessons from everything that I've done, and I have made them work for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
And now, other people.
One of the number one questions that I personally want to ask you, because I'm 42 myself. I'm about to be 43. I said I grew up in the early 80s. So I saw, I know life in the black community before crack, or what y'all call ready rock, you know what I'm saying, back then. Knowing what you know now and the effects of crack cocaine or rock cocaine and what it did to the black communities, if you knew that then, would you still do it?
Wow. I mean, no, absolutely not. But I'm a different person now than I was then. Mm-hmm. Then I was a person that was desperate, lost, confused,
right,
eager to get out of this position I was in, and I was willing to die to do that.
Right. Now,
or kill.
Right. Now, seeing your uncle shot dead by your mom, how did that change you?
Well, it gave me a different perspective than most people about life. I love my uncle. My uncle was like the male figure in my life at that time, mm-hmm. And to lose that figure was tough. But it also let me know that when you're taking somebody's life, you have to be careful because it's something that you can never get back.
Right.
Once it's done, it's done. So you have to be really careful when you're doing that, and that enabled me to make some good decisions, I believe. In coming up in the streets. Sometimes it was a decision whether somebody should live or die, and I feel that I made my decision on the right side.
What what does the name Danilo mean to you?
A lot of things, different times. Helper, drug kingpin, informant. It's a lot to go there. Friend.
Yeah.
Portrayal. So many things go with that name,
So with that being said, the show Snowfall, it's kind of softly based around you. Being like Danilo was like CIA and
they stole my shit.
Yeah.
They stole me.
I feel that. I feel that.
They did. John's a thief.
Yeah.
He's a dead thief.
Because you had an interview with him basically telling your whole life, and then next thing you know, bang, here comes a show.
He read the script to my movie. He read my movie script, and he bought one of the first books that came out. And I don't go on the internet, so I never looked at his post on Instagram, but he had did a post with me and him taking a picture and holding a book when he bought it, and he said, Freeway Rick Ross, great story. Snowfall coming soon, and I never
didn't see that.
I looked at the poster later.
Somebody probably brought it to your attention.
Yeah, somebody showed it to me, and but I already knew when the preview started that Snow. Oh, excuse me. Oh man, rough night last night.
Vegas. You in that Vegas fight, right?
Yeah, I had to sleep in the car too.
Yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah, I had to
we
sleep
appreciate
in that car,
man.
So rough sleeping in cars, y'all. So y'all think I ain't never slept in a car? Don't get it twisted. Last night was one of them nights. Even though I had a pocket full of money, I still couldn't get a room.
Right.
Wow.
Vegas was sold out last night. Yeah, but the last time I saw John alive, and he was trying to tell me the Snowfall wasn't about me, but he wanted to hire me on as a consultant, and he always wanted to hire me on, and I was like, John, you got my number, and just BS, man.
Yeah, I mean, because Snowfall,
but that's small stuff, man.
He tried to fabricate a little bit, but a lot of that shit,
stuff,
you know what I mean? Like, if people know your story and they read your book and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, you look at that shit like, nigga, this is about Freeway Rick.
Yeah, but they finna do most movies and stories. They gonna be talking about me forever, man.
Right.
The stuff I'm working on right now is so big and so ginormous. That
right.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I just shake my head, man, and be like, how could this happen? How did you work yourself in this position to be able to do the things that you're about to do, man, and it just blows me away. And to know that somebody like, John, you played yourself short, man. You could have did the real story.
Right.
You could have did a real one where it would have been really history. That stuff Snowfall is gonna play and then it's gonna die. But this stuff that I'm doing right now is real history, man. It's gonna be in the books forever. The kids gonna read about it in school. Excuse me, they're gonna talk about it. I mean, it's crazy, man. I mean, it's like I've learned the principles of success, and then I can turn them on like a water faucet. Anytime, like a light switch, I can just hit the switch and it just works, and I'm like, these kids are getting to see me turn on switches and turn water on. They're getting to see this in real time. Like right now, y'all, they listening to this podcast. They're going to hear this podcast and know that they can go turn this switch on and it works for them just like it worked for me. The thing that I chose drugs to do in the first time when I was turning on the switch, I didn't know. You could turn that water faucet on. You want Coca-Cola, milk, cocaine, heroin. It don't care. Right. Whatever you put in the pipe, that's what it's gonna put out.
Right.
So I was young and I didn't know that you could fill the pipe up with water if you want to, or washing powder, or whatever it is that you want to put in there. I didn't understand that because I didn't really know the principles.
Right.
I was stumbling up on this stuff. People who use cocaine was teaching me this stuff. They saw. I don't know how they did it or why they did it, but they just started showing me things that nobody else had ever showed me, and it just started coming together, and I didn't even understand what I had until I got to prison, and then I started studying and reading all these books. I read over 300 books before I got out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yep.
Yeah, I read over 300 books, and for y'all,
I'm trying to think, have I reached 300 books in my lifetime?
For y'all that didn't have a chance to read the magazine article that LA Magazine did,
I read probably 3/4 of it.
Yeah. You did. You didn't see when he said he was writing my obituary?
I did. I was watching your interview on Drink Champs, and that's what made me actually go and look up.
Yeah, you see what that dude said? He was writing my obituary. Yeah. He said he thought I was crazy. You remember the article in there? He thought I was crazy. He said, man, this dude done lost his mind. Because I was telling him the stuff that I was going to be doing.
Right.
I was telling him, like, this is what I'm going to be doing, man. This is my mission. I knew when I was in prison with a life sentence what my mission was. I knew then, and I predicted in that article the things that I was going to be doing right now today. So what I'm saying is that these principles or that dynamic, they will overcome a life sentence,
right?
Without the possibility of parole, they'll overcome it, and
that's a blessing, though. Honestly, I mean, just to go from saying, "Yo, you got life, you ain't never getting out," to starting to study the law and finding that loophole. I believe you called it
not being able to read.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
not being able to read,
and dedicating yourself to being able to read a law book.
Not knowing the sound of ABCs.
Right. So
I mean, you got to go all the way back to the root of it.
So your lawyer didn't want to challenge the 3-strike law.
No,
basically saying if you get convicted for the same crime, then you get life, and you wasn't convicted of the same crime.
No, I was convicted of the same crimes.
So he didn't want to challenge what?
That's what he didn't want to challenge. Because he didn't understand how to challenge it. He just went to Harvard.
Right.
He didn't go to South Central. Mm-hmm. He didn't get educated in South Central.
Right.
See, I got educated in South Central LA.
Completely different education.
Yes, totally different education.
Exactly.
You know, you take that dude and put him in LA, he won't last.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody gonna kill him.
Right.
He probably killed in a couple months. Dude with Harvard education got killed in South Central.
So how did you appeal that and get out?
I read their books.
Right.
And then I found out that I had an incredible comprehension level. Like I could see stuff and I remembers it.
Right. Yeah.
I have a question that you use the term continuous criminal spree.
Continuous criminal spree.
Now, is that a terminology that you came up with based off the information?
The book had it.
The book said that.
The book said that. A continuous criminal spree was different from a career criminal.
Uninterrupted.
So mine was a uninterrupted spree. A career criminal is somebody who gets interrupted,
goes to jail, gets out.
Look at it. Y'all know the law. Y'all ain't never studied that stuff, man. How y'all know that stuff?
Because I got a lot of my homies are career criminals.
But the thing is,
I'm taking education.
It's street knowledge that you learn from other people who actually been through that shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's tight. But yeah, a lot of people, they get charged with that, and the way that the system was rolled up, and it was rolled up correctly, because you don't want to make nobody a career criminal that only committed a crime one time in their life.
Right.
Say a guy wakes up, because there's people that could literally wake up one morning and go to one of the tracks. Y'all done been on them tracks where they like balling, like lines of cars and people walking up.
Right.
And technically, each one of them people that you make a sale to is a separate sale. Those are all separate sales. And under the indictment would be separate accounts.
Right.
Like you might look at your indictment and they say, oh, he made a sale to this person, a sale to that person. Those are all separate accounts. So they could literally had the way the prosecutor was trying to use it with me, they could literally say, oh, you a career criminal. And you ain't never did nothing before in your life. You ain't never even cursed, you know what I'm saying? And then you woke up one morning and somebody need $5,000 and you on the block and you're like, man, they make $50,000 every day. I'm just gonna go get $5,000 but I got to serve 100 customers.
Right.
So now they saying you got 100 convictions. No, It's not the way it worked. And that's the way I had to show my lawyer how to frame the argument. Now, he was stuck that my continuous spree happened all over the country.
Right.
Some people continuous spree just happened in L.A.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? On one block.
Everywhere.
But I say, listen, this is the United States. They not say nothing. It didn't say nothing about what block you was on, what house you served out of. It just said, was it a continuous criminal spree? Was it interrupted? Had you ever been brought to your senses? No, I'd never been brought to my senses. I was still wild. I was still ornery. I still had all that stuff going on with myself. Y'all had never took me to court and put me in one of them cells and spanked me real good. So, no, I didn't learn my lesson. But yeah, that's how that went down. But that was just me using my critical thinking for myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then I started using it for other guys' case. I started showing other guys how, well, this is what you got. This is what you need to do. That's how you.
Now, was you charging them for that?
Not really. No. Okay. I wasn't really charging them. Sometimes, they would give, in jail, it ain't much, no way.
Right.
Everybody, we all in there in the same boat. So, money is not really my motivation. Other people spend most of my money anyway. I don't get to spend my own money.
Because I was thinking...
Because I don't like their clothes and stuff. I see people wearing all them clothes. I'll be like, damn.
it's funny that you say that because I remember when I first heard about you, I must have been like 13 or 14 years old. You talking about late 80s, early 90s. And I remember seeing a story or something about you, and it just talked about how you were not flashy. Yeah. And I remember me and my homeboy, we was sitting there, we was looking like, man, this nigga making $1 million a day, and this nigga dressing like that. You know what I'm saying? Because all we knew was get you, you get money, you get super clean. But at the time, I'm saying you got the dreads, and you was just chill, and you was like a man amongst the community. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, like,
I wasted my money.
Isolating spot.
I wasted my money. I was getting rid of like 100 pounds a week of weed from these Jamaican niggas back in the day, and every day I never wore the same fucking clothes. So I was just wasting my money. When if I would have known what I knew now, I would have been investing that shit and opening up businesses. Know what I mean?
No doubt. That's what you got to do. I mean, I literally trained myself to believe that to dress like that was crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, like you in the game, like what you trying to do? Tell the police what you doing? You want
about to say, don't that make you? It makes you.
You want the Jack boys to know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You want all the Jack boys to know what you doing, huh?
Right.
So you wind up in the trunk of somebody's car by somebody you don't even know.
Exactly.
So the only way you would know that I sold dope when I sold dope is if you knew me.
Right.
Or if one of my guys pointed me out to you.
Right.
You know, then you would know. I didn't want you to just be able to walk up in the supermarket and be like, oh man, he a dope dealer.
Right.
You know, I mean, you can do that. You know, you see him all the time.
All
you
the
see
time.
him.
That's
Man,
where
you know he's selling.
Hey,
you know he's selling dope.
Exactly.
Come on, homie.
One of my OGs back when I was growing up, like we used to be out riding on Sundays and shit, and he sold more dope than a lot of niggas in Kansas City. But he was real low key. He dressed like the regular
That's where
man.
you get long. That's where you get longevity.
He had like a Honda Accord on 5 stars, but we be out there be like, you see that nigga? He gonna go to jail. He gonna
Fast.
go to jail. You know
He
what I'm
going to
saying?
jail fast.
And so I always like once I understood that, you know what I'm saying? It made me as a person like I want to be clean enough to people like, oh yeah, you fresh. But I don't want to be that nigga that stand out in the crowd.
Yeah.
Well, you know, 1,000
you know what I always say. When you special, it's gonna shine.
Right.
You know, my mom and them in church, they should say, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine,
let it shine."
So you know, when
Taking you out to church on Sunday.
when you got that light, you don't need no cotton or no silk,
right.
no gold.
Look at Jerry Seinfeld. He fucking millionaire. He walk around looking like he broke his shit.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's how they get it, though.
Right.
That's how they get it.
Right.
Because they don't take their money and spend it on tennis shoes, you know, and you know all the stuff that we do as the people. I ain't gonna go there.
I mean, here's the thing: like when we got a little money, I don't care even if you ain't got a whole lot of money, you want to make yourself look like you got a lot of money, so everybody be like, "Man, that nigga paid."
Right. No, I mean, but the thing is, if it only matters to those that's close to you, really. You know what I'm saying? Like to those who matter to you.
No, it only matters to
you can have a nice ass house, but won't nobody know that shit. They see you from the outside. You know what I'm saying? Like until the people that you really care about come and see, like, okay, I mean, we living good type shit.
Well, I always looked at it like I would rather be the one that could and look like I can't.
Right.
Than to be the one who look like I am
and can't.
But you ain't.
Back to your original point, it be them same dudes that's clean and fresh, but when you go and be like, yo, can I borrow $1,000 or $100?
I ain't got it.
I ain't got it.
I just spent it at the mall.
Let me ask you a question. How did you keep yourself protected? You know what I mean? Doing what you was doing. Like, is it because
my dress is a protection mechanism. Mm-hmm. You know, because you're not gonna recognize me. I mean, now people are starting to recognize me even more. You know, since I had the No One documentary on Netflix for a year and a half,
yeah.
They start to recognize that shit, right?
yeah. But big ups to that, bro. Shit.
But you know, they don't really recognize you, and it take them back. Like even now, like I be places and people like looking at me and like, is you him?
We seen him. We seen him over by the barbershop like a couple times. The niggas was like, yo, that's the real Rick.
And I get a kick out of tell them like, sometimes I am, but sometimes I ain't.
Depend on when it is.
Yeah, depend on who it is.
Right.
Who asking.
Right.
And you know they love that when I do that to them. But that was a form of my mechanism of of being safe was not to show, that I had $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know I got $1 million unless one of the homies told you I had $1 million, and they ain't gonna tell you because they don't want you to know me. They trying to keep you away from me.
Exactly.
They don't want nobody getting next to me. So that was a form of my mechanism of protection.
And I was thinking about this, like, everybody want all this money, and when you think about the kind of money that you was making at that time, what people don't realize is another problem that you run into is hiding that money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a problem. Like, when you got that much money, you can't just go put it in the bank. Like,
ain't enough shoe boxes on the planet or mattresses.
You have multiple
ain't
houses,
enough mattresses.
Yeah. You have to have houses and
you got to figure that shit out, and people that you got to trust it.
But they walk out with safes. I done had safes disappear.
Safes?
Damn, what happened to the safe?
Right.
A Brinks truck that pulled up to the house.
Let me see who's first. Let me see who's first
the
for
whole
this week,
safe.
nigga, because I'm about to get that nigga.
Man, I had one time, right, because I had a $1 bill problem. So I had these about 60-something thousand $1 bills.
He's like $1. You was ready to go to the shaky. You was ready to go make it rain on the bitch.
Yeah. Well, they wasn't doing that back then, I don't think.
Like,
Strip club dance cost $5. You paid
I hate that
$5.
making it rain shit.
So we put it in my girl's grandmother's garage because we didn't have nowhere else to put them. Mm-hmm. Man, somebody found out, they cut the whole wall out of the garage and took the safe out.
They probably seen that shit, was like, nigga, all ones? The fuck?
No, he probably was happy though with all them ones.
Hell yeah.
It still adds up. Ones add up.
And they was all counted too. We had them all counted.
So it was neat.
Rubber band up and everything.
So
niggas trying to cash in. They see I got all these ones.
But the bank had told us. The bank had already told us. The bank said, "Don't bring no more ones in here."
We can't get
we got too many ones, nigga. We got about 100,000 ones, goddamn it, right now.
We had a one problem, man. But
that's funny.
Yeah, them
that's
was
crazy.
the good old days, man. But this new stuff I'm working on right now with this marijuana. Oh my God!
That's what I was going to listen. What you working on? Because I was going to ask you about that.
What you working on? Go ahead, tell us. Huh?
The end of prohibition.
He said, "Nigga, y'all don't let Rick Ross get a hold of some legal weed, nigga."
I'm up for a license.
Right.
The city give me a license. They gonna give me a license to sell marijuana.
Damn, these niggas trying to lock me up now. Y'all gonna give me a license
for this
Give me a license to sell marijuana.
Like, fuck
man.
dope, nigga. This weed, nigga.
I was actually thinking about that yesterday. I'm like, I wonder if they gonna get into the weed game. I'm like,
In it. All in it.
And you can talk about it. It's like, nigga, this shit is legal, my nigga.
Let me see if I can show you some pictures. I was just in Colorado last week.
Uh-huh.
I'm doing my investigation for black people.
Right.
We don't want to do the investigation, so I'm gonna have to do the.
Look at that shit.
I'm gonna have to do the investigation for them. I'm gonna get all the research for them, and then so we can be accounted for in this game. Look at that thing there, big as my hand.
God damn! I need the tip of that bud. I need the tip of that bud.
Y'all can go to my social media and see the pictures. Also, I've been putting on a cannabis tour for people in other states. Like, we finna bust Kansas City out. Kansas City.
They just got legal.
They went legal, but you know what I told them?
But it's not recreational.
No,
look what I told them when I went down.
Jersey too.
I spoke in Kansas City a couple weeks ago, and what I told them, I say, now, I'm not saying y'all system is racist.
It's racist.
That shit's
No,
racist.
it's racist.
But I didn't say that though.
You could.
I didn't say that. I just say this is what I told them. I said, if we look at the numbers, it's gonna look racist.
Right.
Not that it is, because I'm sure y'all people don't mean to be racist with y'all. But if you look at the numbers on how many people got licenses, it's gonna look racist.
Right.
And we got to do something about that, because we had to do something about it here in L.A.
Right.
L.A., they gave out 190 licenses. Only 2 blacks had them.
Wow.
So, we went down to the city, and we said, we got to do something about that. That ain't going to fly.
Right.
We got some old sheriffs back now. We ain't going for that.
Right.
That same old BS y'all be doing. We want a piece of the pie, too.
Exactly.
So we just had a social equity first round 2 weeks ago. Licenses went in. They're giving out 100 licenses to people from zip codes that was hit hard by the war on drugs. Now they slid some stuff in on us where they was able to get some white guys in there too. Where they also allowed, if you was a convicted felon, no matter where you was in the state, they allowed you to come here. And they really, City Council of LA really effed up because no other city allowed other people from different parts of the state to come to their city and get a license. Like Long Beach, you could get a license in Long Beach, but you had to be a Long Beach resident. Yeah. It wasn't we don't care if you got arrested in San Diego, Sonoma County. If you got arrested, you can get a license. But anyway, we've been doing that here in LA. Also, we're putting in an application for a license in Florida, which is probably going to be the biggest feat. I put together a master plan on that, man. I don't know.
We're gonna wait for
I'm gonna pat myself on the back. Yeah. I went to Florida, right? And so they only gave out 5 licenses.
For the whole state?
Yeah, only 5 licenses.
Oh, you saying like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
5.
For the
number
entire
5.
State of Florida.
And where they
crazy.
did it, look how they did it. Look how cold it was. They said we're only giving licenses to people who've owned a rose garden for 40 years.
What?
For 40 years. And so I'm sitting there thinking, right?
So that's like older white women.
A white man, you already know what.
I don't know what white man gonna have a rose garden for 4
rose
years.
gardens make money. They make money.
Yeah, especially around Valentine's Day, nigga. Like shit. They're like, nigga, I'm waiting till February, motherfucker. These shits is gonna be blooming.
So when they told me that, I was like, well, I know black farmers should be suing these they should be suing. And they did. So I contacted the Black Farmers Association. I was like, look, man, I know y'all suing the state of Florida. Anything I can do to help you guys, let me know. I'm here for you. They said, all right, took my number. 4 months later, they called back. Were like, hey, we won that lawsuit. One of our guys is going to put an application. He's an older gentleman. He knows absolutely nothing about marijuana. He want to know will you be his partner.
Yup.
Yes.
Say no more.
Yeah, so that's how I got involved with the license in Florida. This license is worth $250 million a year.
Wow.
$250 million a year. So
literally a corner of the market.
We can build a lot of houses, a lot of schools with that money.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. Look, I'm glad to hear you say that.
I wanna. Were you still in contact with the person who gave you that truck to help you get back to LA?
Oh no, that was. My God, that was
my God
4 decades ago.
No. I'm not saying are you in touch with him now. I'm talking about when you got back. Did you ever get back in contact?
Oh yeah, we went and got that truck.
Yeah.
We went and got that truck. Yeah, we went and got that truck.
Okay, look. So I have a question.
That truck stayed in the family for a long time. We kept that truck around.
That was the lucky truck. Right. Listen. Like that had.
It wasn't. I don't know if it was a lucky one, but it wasn't unlucky. It broke down that night on us.
but y'all still made it though. Y'all still made that
it, man.
So I have a question. How long was you still calling shots on the streets, making things happen after you got incarcerated?
I never stopped trying to make stuff happen. But what happened though, in the federal prison is they'll take your telephone, your mail, and everything for doing business in jail.
Right.
I lost all of it. Mail, I can't get no mail. I can't get no phone calls.
Hey, we don't want
I had to use somebody else's mail. You know what I'm saying? You can't use their phone call because they got your voice on a thing, and then they can tell if you're on somebody else's phone. So I had to send letters out through other people. Man, drop a kite for me, man. That's how I lost the Alcoholics. See, I would have had the Alcoholics had I not went to the hole.
So tell us that story. Like, what was it that made that fall through?
Well, me and Harry O's was cellies at MDC when they started Death Row.
Right.
And so when I get back to the joint, I go in the TV room, and they got Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre doing 187 on the Undercover Cop on Death Row Records. I'm like, oh, shit. That shit worked.
He said that shit worked.
So I jumped on the phone and I started calling everybody I know. Hey, who know a rapper? Anybody know a rapper? And I called King T and he was like, oh man, these little dudes called the Alcoholics, they work with me. And he said, matter of fact, they stay with your cousin. I was like, what? And he was like, oh, they're going to be on my video this weekend. Watch the video coming on BET this weekend. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, I want to mess with them. So that's how I started working with them. And then I hooked them up with Fabian, who took them to Loud. When I went to the hole, Fabian took them over to Loud Records and got them signed.
Damn. That's dope, bro. That's dope. Man, it's just a lot. It's a lot to go over with you, and we don't have.
We'll do it again, man.
Yeah.
We'll do it again.
We don't have enough time. But no, I mean, but for everybody out there who really want to know, the story about you, like tell them what they can do and how they can get a hold of you and everything. Like that book you got right there, I'm about to buy that off you.
All right. I got a few more of them too, y'all. Y'all can get them off my website. FreewayRickyRoss.com. Also, all y'all need to join my Millionaire Club. My Millionaire Club finna pop. You slipping on it if you ain't already in it. You ain't bought the first book. Go on my social media. Check out, the stuff I'm doing at Freeway Ricky. On all of them except Twitter. My Twitter got hacked. Somebody took my Twitter down.
Okay. Bitch.
Yeah. Jealous. Mad. All that. But
Could I have you sign that book for me?
I'm gonna sign it for you. I got my Sharpie right here.
Yeah, there we go.
I got my Sharpie right here. I love them 20s.
And not the dollars. I mean, not the singles. He said, "Nigga, let me."
I got 21.
So y'all go get the book. Also, you can get the other book on there too. Freeway Ricky Ross, The Untold Autobiography. Great book to read. It's kid friendly. I'm hoping that schools start to buy it. But I know most of y'all waiting on Oprah Winfrey to get it. And once Oprah pick it up and say, "Oh yeah," then you're gonna go buy it.
It's gonna go crazy.
It's gonna go bananas.
She's gonna be giving them away. After she bought them up.
Every white woman across America is gonna be like, "I love."
But y'all got an opportunity right now to be ahead of the game. You know what I'm saying? You can see where Snowfall come from. I know all y'all loving Snowfall. They tell me all over the country how much they love it. But you can get the real story from the horse's mouth. And use them principles in whatever trade you do. I was walking through the casino yesterday, man. This youngster came up, gave me a big bad hug. He said, "Thank you, man. I love your videos." So y'all check me out, man, all over Freeway Ricky. Thank y'all.
That's my man. Thank you. Appreciate you coming through,
hey,
bro.
man. Yo, this is truly an honor, man, and a blessing, man. Thank you, man. Thank you, Deidre, for hooking it up, man. So, yo, this has been another episode of Barbershop Talk Like This. I'm your host, Trey the Barber.
And this your other host, Dice the Barber.
Kush in the building.
And
Freeway Ricky Ross.
we out this bitch. Peace.